Two bits of fantastic news. First one, it's like a tropical paradise. We're having a heat wave, 8 degrees. Second bit of good news, the steel's here.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, had to reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep since '99. What I thought was gone was sitting in my pocket in plain sight all along. I think it's time for me to go, burn all bridges. All I know, I got lost along the way.
Great, so here it is behind me, all ready to go in. Took a little bit of carrying, thank you Sir Jim for giving me a hand to get it inside. Right, the first thing I need to do is I need to remove the support post, which you remember is on the other side, and put it underneath here for now.
What you give, you get to keep. So long, farewell, bye-bye. Let's have a toast for those lost old eyes. And my crooked little heart that seems so rebellious is falling apart right now. I'm bleeding.
Right, I think a little bit of housekeeping under here won't go amiss.
It's time for me to go, burn all bridges. All I know, I got lost along the way, fell between the fold, pulling stitches.
Right, a quick thank you too to whichever kind soul sent us these. Brilliant, the M8 taps. I broke my last one when I was putting the black cover on the den. Unfortunately, no name, so I don't know who it was from. Just in case if you don't know how to leave your name, there's a gift certificate. You just fill the gift certificate bit in and you write your details on there. We get the little message and tells us who it is that sent us it. But thank you anyway. It really was appreciated. Let's try and get this into a better position to be able to drag it underneath the boat. And to be able to weld some eyes on it again so we can lift it up. I did make a little bit of a mistake, not much of one, but a bit of a planning error. It wasn't too much of a problem, but do you remember how I suspended the rudder stock above here at the back? Well, of course, I've had to use my chain blocks and the lifting eyes for it, and now they're occupied, so I've had to go out and buy a brand new chain block because of that, but no problem, they come in handy. So let's shift this around and get some eyes on it. Okay, so I was just getting into welding the eyes on to lift it up, and I was just looking at the orientation, and then I realised the guys who bent the steel, they've bent it the wrong way. I panicked at first, not that it's a major panic, but I panicked that it was me sending the drawing in wrong. But I quickly checked the drawing, and I was right. They've bent the steel, instead of bending it up, they've bent it down. And it makes a difference because the fold isn't parallel to the edge. So I've just been on the phone to them now. They're a bit apologetic, and they're just going to see what they can do to sort it out. So that scuppered my job completely. That was this week's video was going to be all about getting this steel in. I don't know what to do. I could have a little think now and just see what, wait for them to get back to me and see what's going to happen when it comes to getting us the steel. Right now, I don't know. I'll sit and ponder. Right, we're back under the boat. Trying to find some jobs to do while we sort this steel out. Can you see this steel here? There's two pieces, one on top of the other. You probably can't see the one on the bottom. This is just steel, 4 meters, bent to 30 degrees. And what this is intended for is this is going to be replacement chine down both sides of the boat, because you remember the chine is pretty corroded all the way through the boat, but a lot of the hull's okay. So those steel sections with the angle in it outside, they're to repair this chine. It's not cleaned up, but you can probably see they're in a bit of a mess. Also, the first 6 inches up the side of the boat. So that's going to need replacing, but that's why we've bought that section, so we can cut out that rotten chine and just put some nice, fresh steel in there. So it's here under the boat. It was chucking it down yesterday, and I put it at an angle so that the water runs off, but you can see it's been gathering in the bottom. We've got a little bit of flash rust. So what I'm going to do is, just to keep this rust free for the time being, I'm just going to put some of the ACF 50 on it again, you know, my favourite. Okay, catastrophe then, because that was this week's planned job. So let's hope that they can get me the steel tomorrow. Fingers crossed, but I'm not holding my breath. In the meanwhile then, let's just finish getting the rest of this out. Now we've took the support post out. Let's get this cleaned up nicely. I need to be really careful with this camera, and here's the reason why. Have a look at the quality. I'll just take the lens cap off. Now look at the quality. And you probably can't see that, it's a right mess. But 1 day's use yesterday, and it was covered in grinding splatter, and I forgot to put a new cover on. So what I've got to do today is keep the camera right out of the way of the grinding. So you'll probably get a little bit of far off footage while we just finished cleaning up this corner. Right, chuck that in the bin, which is down there on the floor. Right, hopefully you can hear me okay over the heater. It's cold, heater's back on, blowing on my back, beautiful that. So we've cleaned up this steel now. Now I'm not going to go any further. There's actually a possibility that that patch that we put in last week might be redundant, because I've been looking at this curved stairs idea, and I've been looking at a boat that's in the Netherlands, and they've got curved stairs at the back. But also something they do have is they have an extension on the aft cabin that comes from this transom here. It actually comes out a little bit, sort of at an angle, if you like. I don't know if you can see that, but it comes out here at the back. And I've been looking at the idea of that, because when we surveyed the back cabin where the bed was, we didn't have a great deal of room to walk around the bed. And it also meant that the door that went to the ensuite bathroom, or head if you like, was very, very narrow. And if we were able to move the bed back even by 3 or 4 inches, it would make a big difference to the room around the front of the bed. So we're looking at that idea, because we are going to be putting in a rear hatch anyway, very similar, and I've been modelling my idea on that boat. So we're thinking about some of these modifications as we go, but right now we're on the stern, and I'm not going to clean this up anymore because I'm still thinking about making this slight modification. What we'll probably do is put the bathing platform in first, build that frame around the back, tack it in, and then we'll cut out after that, just to keep strength and support. We'll have a think about that. I wanted to answer a few common questions that we get all the time in the comments, and I'm responding forever on those comments. Now in future I'll refer people back to this video just to let you know. The first comment that I've had rather a lot of is, why are we putting a radius on the corner of the boat? And a few of you said it makes absolutely no difference, and one or two of you have also said, well, when you've welded it in, it's just one piece of steel, it's ridiculous, you're just making hard work for yourself. It's not true. So now my practical experience is limited, as you know, but my technical experience is not. And I've had a look. I did decide, because I've seen this as a recommended technique, and I looked through the literature. And what you find is it's to do with the focusing of stress lines. If you have corners, you have the focusing of stress lines as things move. And where there are stress lines, you get cracks. And that's particularly worse around welds, because welds are not one piece of steel. They are in some ways, but if you look under a microscope or with etching and things, the crystalline structure of welded steel, okay, is not the same at the weld. There's a difference in the actual crystal formation, the crystal structure in those places. And if you've got stress lines there, there's a potential for cracking on welds. So there's lots of papers about it, and there's recommendations to use curves. The other reason is as well is that welding a corner is not so easy. If you want to get full penetration, you tend to burn out the corner. So radiuses are actually a little bit easier as well. And that's the first question I wanted to field. The second one that I get a lot, some of you are rather rude about it as well, but you talk about chamfering the steel. And I'll just get another piece of steel. So what you have is you have a piece of steel here, and a lot of you talk about chamfering this to make this a point, chamfering this to make this a point, to weld, and that way you're more likely to get penetration. It is a welding technique, but it's generally a welding technique that's used on thicker steel. I don't know what thickness, but my steel is 4mm. Now, I haven't hit the literature for this, but I have spoken to two engineers who work with shipbuilding, and it's about the thickness of the steel. If it was thicker, I don't know what thickness, then yes, that would be a reasonable technique. But the reason this is not is because it's only 4mm, and burning through is easier to get through 4mm. That's the first thing. But the second thing is as well is that if you put a chamfer on this and put a corner on it, you have less parent metal, and you're welding and you're filling in that gap more with the welding metal, and that's not as good as using the existing parent metal. The parent metal is better, and you're better fusing the parent metal as you go down. Now, that's what I've been informed by two independent shipbuilders down here. I'm sure different people have got different ideas and do it different ways, but I trust the people, that's their technique that they do on commercial shipping down here in West Wales. Anyhow, let's get back on with it. Okay, so what I need to do now is I'm just going to do some measuring up, because I want to try and possibly get some drawings done to give me an idea about putting the spiral stairs into this stern, how it's all going to work out. I've had some measurements sent to me by Eric in the Netherlands. Thank you very much, Eric. Eric owns the boat that the images and the pictures have been inspired by. And Eric has very kindly sent me some measurements, so I'm going to use some of those measurements to know the stair size and things, and see how it fits in here, make sure it's exactly the same. Right, let's do some measuring. Rough measurements, 1 metre. So the bathing platform, 1460. This is, I need a Sharpie, I've run out of Sharpies. Right, hopefully this makes sense. That's that funny shaped thing at the back of the boat. I'm just looking at that. So from the bathing platform, this is going to be the bathing platform. That's going to be the deck, at foot height on the deck. That measurement there is 1460. Now that measurement from the bathing platform to the top of that shape, and there's the rub rail that goes around the side of the boat, that distance is 10 20. Right, and I'll just show this. So that is that. So again, we have the same height there, which is 1460 to the top. That's 1m20 to just underneath there. And I'll just get some measurements here now. So that distance is 820, and that height is 265. So that then is roughly 210. And we need this width here. So if we just go to a plan view, something like that, that bit is 579. Get it right. And then here, let's have a look at the back. It's 529. Right, I think I've got enough now to be going on with. Sean from the future here. I just wanted to quickly show you the 3D drawing I've been doing of the spiral stairs at the stern that take you onto the bathing platform. Not completed by a long chalk, but this is just what we've roughly got so far just to model up the idea. What do you think? Right, so the next thing I wanted to show you was this. You remember this is the rudder stop. We've got swinging up in the air, and you can see here, look, water, and it's been causing a bit of flash rust again, which obviously we don't want. There's been enough rust on here to last a lifetime. It's coming from here, the hatch. So this boat was broke into at some stage and they smashed the hatch off. Well, they smashed it open, and it's what actually caused a lot of the damage in here. Now, I repaired it. Initially it was a security repair when we didn't have all the security on the boat. But it was also to try and keep everything dry. But you'll see it started to leak water. Let me show you. So you might see up here, you see these drips. And there's a polythene sheet here, and it's full of water. Oh, can you see it? That polythene sheet was to try and keep it waterproof, but it's kind of captured water behind it, and I think now it's leaking out of this corner. So what I want to try and do is just empty that water out for now, and catch it in something, maybe that bucket, and then if it continues to drip, it'll not matter. And the reason I'm not going to do a proper repair on it is we'll be up here soon. As soon as we get this stern done, we'll be moving forward. That forms some of the decking, and we'll be inspecting and repairing that, and we'll be putting a new hatch in. So let me just try and empty all that water. Makes you want to go to the toilet. Right. Plenty of water in there, wasn't there? I'll leave that there. It'll continue to keep dripping, but at least it's controlled for now. Let's just chuck this water away first. There we go. All ready to catch any drips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this video short because we've been held up by the steel, and I don't want to bore you with stupid peripheral jobs that aren't going to be very interested in content. It'd be better just to make this video a little bit shorter, and then we'll make you a longer video next week when we start putting the steel in. So thank you for watching. Don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe button, hype button, leave us a comment. See you in the next video. Bye for now.